Enterprise Stories is the weekly radio program that shares the experiences of successful Nigerian entrepreneurs and provides expert analysis of their success factors. Enterprise Stories, business stories of success.
Welcome to Enterprise Stories. This week's episode is about a man who had a dream of becoming a research scientist with the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, but ended up as the owner of a big air care manufacturing company in Nigeria. In this week's episode, we will also have our guest share how he started his production with a frying pan. But before we start, let's take a message from IBTC. I remain your host, Olawale.
When you are successful in your small business, as I am, people will always come to you. They want to know what you're doing differently, who your bankers are, and what kind of deals you are getting from them. Well, I'm happy to enjoy all the benefits of the SME Zero COT account from Stanbic IBTC Bank. My profit is up. But why? Because I get zero COT, unlimited turnover, no limit on check lodgement or withdrawals, free internet and telephone banking, as well as discount on training courses for small business owners. With special benefits like that on the SME Zero COT account from Stanbic IBTC Bank. Now, there is no reason why your business won't boom just like mine.
Stanbic IBTC Bank, moving forward.
Good day, everyone. My name is Bumi Afolabi, and I will be your faculty for the program today. Talent is a subject that is very dear to the heart of every entrepreneur. After you have employed people, the next problem you have to think about is retaining those people and ensuring that your business does not become a revolving door through which staff keep going in and out on a regular basis. So we're going to be talking today about how you can retain skilled talent when you have found them and have employed them into your place of business. I am sure that we all agree that retaining skilled talent is the key. Actually, I would say the primary key to retaining customers and keeping your customers happy. And customers are the lifeblood of your company. So anything that ensures that your customers stay and are happy is something that we want to give attention and focus to. I'm sure you have also heard it said several times that money is not the primary thing towards keeping people and keeping your staff motivated. I will say that you need to offer a fair salary in order to ensure that your employees do not have to keep thinking about where the next meal is going to come from. But beyond offering a fair salary, there are a number of other things we can also do to keep people happy and to retain them. One of the things you can do is to ensure that you make them feel a member of your team. So right from the very first day that a new person resumes in your organization, you need to let them know that their participation in the team is not only necessary, but it is beneficial to the overall production and the success of the business. Employees that have a clear understanding of their role and the contribution that they are going to be making towards the organization tend to be happier and more motivated to do their job. Another thing you can also do to retain skilled talent is to ensure that you offer proper training for the job. A lot of small business owners, when people resume, they typically just give them a baptism of fire, just kind of like plunge them straight into the work and say, okay, this is what you need to do. This is the person that's going to be supervising you. These are the results I'm expecting from you. And, just figure your way out. It's very important that we do not skip whatever extensive amount of training is required in order to get the person to be able to come up to speed very quickly on the job. Do not give them a baptism of fire, but take them through the process. Teach them the things that they need to be able to do their jobs properly. And when you give them that foundation, you will find that the employee will be happier by the time he actually starts doing his job because he has all the tools to a large extent that he needs to do his job. It's also important that you give them a clear understanding of the goals you expect them to achieve. You do not necessarily have to tell them exactly A to Z of how you want them to do it. Give them the freedom to be able to do that, but tell them the goals that you expect them to achieve at the end of the day. It's also important, just drawing on from my last statement, that you allow your employees to be creative. In other words, don't micromanage them. Don't tell them, okay, I want you to achieve, for example, if it's a salesperson, a sales of X amount of naira every month. And the way I expect you to do it is to visit X number of customers, write X number of letters, and do Z number of phone calls. Leave it up to the person. If you have interviewed the person and hired the person believing that the person is able to do this job, then allow them the freedom and the creativity to do what they need to do. Of course, you do not want to totally leave them to just go, running all over the place, but allow them that freedom to do their job and to come back to you with reports on the frequency that you expect, whether it's weekly or bi-weekly or monthly, whatever it is, and just watch what they're doing as they're going along. Another thing that's also important, also following on from the last two things I've said, is that you need to make time for your employees. So as you know that an employee sometimes may feel hesitant to come to you, either because they don't want to appear incompetent or they don't want to appear like they're not doing what they're supposed to do. So sometimes they feel hesitant about coming to you to ask for help or for advice. So rather than waiting for the employee to come, it's good for you to make time to meet with them informally from time to time. Just drop in at their desk and ask them how things are going. Find out if there are any challenges that they're experiencing. Ask them what you can do to help them succeed, and generally be like a coach or a mentor to them informally as they go along their day-to-day activities. That way the employee feels more relaxed, and gradually they would find it easier to come to you when they have problems, because they realize that you have their best interest at heart. The final thing that I will talk about, of course, is praise and acknowledgement. We know that it's very important as human beings that everybody wants to be acknowledged and praised for the efforts that they put in. So even though it may be obvious, it's important to restate it that whenever an employee does something good, you want to praise publicly. But if the employee has done something not so good, you want to reprimand them privately. So as much as possible, when an employee has done well, has achieved a particular goal, or done something in a particularly creative way, let the whole company know. Maybe send out an email, maybe say it in a staff meeting, but find some way to praise the person as soon as possible after that particular action or cause. Delayed praise also can be demotivating. So don't wait until the next staff meeting 1 month after to say, Mr. X, did this so well. As at that time, probably other things have passed under the bridge and the person has even moved on from that particular one. So it's very important to offer praise and acknowledgement when an employee has done particularly well. And if they have not done so well, like I said earlier, reprimand them, but do it privately. And also, like I said, do it immediately. Don't wait until the incident has passed, several days and weeks have passed, and the person does not even remember anymore the specific details of that incident before you bring them in to reprimand them. So with a few of these tips that I have given you, I hope that you are better positioned to keep and retain your talented skills and to ensure that they in turn translate to increased profitability for your business and general increased business performance. Thank you very much.
My brother, you see, for this our import and export business, not be who go China pass na be the issue. Now who you dey follow talk na im matter, Who you dey follow talk as how? The expert then we sabi the business of import and export in toto. People like Stanbic IBTC Bank.
Stanbic IBTC? Nah, person name be that.
Stanbic IBTC Bank na my bank, and then sabi my business well.
Announcing the arrival of Flight 220 from China.
Doing business in China? Come, let's talk about how our expertise and understanding of the import and export business will help you grow and trade smarter. With Stanbic IBTC Bank, you have access to import and export trade finance, letters of credit, telegraphic transfer, bills for collection, and other well-tailored trade advice that moves you forward. For more information, visit www.stanbicibtc.com or call our number 0700 2255 782 6242. Stanbic IBTC, moving forward.
Welcome back to Enterprise Stories. And sharing a story with us today is Mr. Ndukwu Ajala, the CEO of Soulmate Industries Limited. You're welcome to Enterprise Stories.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to dive straight into the very interesting question I'd like to ask all our business people that come here. Tell us, first of all, about Soulmate Industries.
Soulmate is a cosmetics industry. And we are focusing on hair, and in a short time we will be diverting into other personal care products. But at the moment, our focus is on hair. It's a company we started 1992, and at the moment, we have been able to build the brand to the point that it's known all over Nigeria and West Coast.
Okay, so now to my favorite question. How did it all start? How did Soulmate Industry start in 1992?
Initially, my original intention was not to be an industrialist. My original intention was to be a research scientist. But along the line, I discovered that I won't be able to get to NASA, which was my primary interest. While in secondary school, I didn't realize that you even need a visa to get there. I was thinking that I would be in NASA just by knowing my chemistry, physics, mathematics. But when I realized that I might not be able to get there, I started thinking of something else I have to do. Then the idea of producing pharmaceutical active material. First of all, I read industrial chemistry, so I'm a chemist. On trying to do evaluation, I realized that a lot of money will be required to do that, and it's difficult to lay hand on such money. I started thinking of what else can I do, starting from very little resources. That was how the idea of going to hair care came about. And Soulmate was born in January 8, 1992.
Okay.
In a frying pan.
In a frying pan. Okay. We are talking to the CEO of Soulmate Industries, and he has just shared with us how he started Soulmate and how he came about. His dream of going to NASA was shelved, and he then decided to go into registering his own business. But sir, at the time you started Soulmate and you registered it in 1992, at what point did you then start to manufacture these hair products locally here in Nigeria?
Yes, after graduation, I put in 2 years and 11 months working for someone, at least to understand what it takes to work in an organization. Then the next thing was to take a plunge. The plunge to start this product. The mindset was not to just produce. The mindset was to identify a key area, and that was, is there something presently in the system that is not being done well? And I targeted that. Even though that I was starting this product very small, I made sure that the first product that I will ever produce will come out of very high standard. That was something people couldn't resist, though produced in a very local form. And that was the idea. The idea was to get the finest of material to produce it in a very small, concise production setup, which was my kitchen, using the frying pan, using the spoon to put them together. The moment people begin to show interest in the product, then I realized that it's something I could sell, and I started thinking of marketing. That is how Soulmate was born.
And then you started packaging it, and you were taking it to the market.
Yes, if one need to go into details, Soulmate we had to improvise a lot of things, including packaging for those initial products. And that did not remove the idea of making sure the packaging comes out well. It only requires extra effort to get it done that way. I'll give you an example. You can stick something behind a plastic using ordinary milk and glue without somebody knowing that it's done with glue. And you can also do it and people will know it's done with glue. So I took time to use a paper label and fixed it on the packaging, and it came out very well. So the initial product came out well packaged, which of course, people first of all will see before they will begin to appreciate the content.
Now, this business has been running since 1992, and it is obvious that you've had many challenges. Can you share some of the challenges you've had and how you've been able to overcome them?
I would like to say here that those aspects of those things that people call challenges actually the driving for the exact interest I had. Because if there were no challenges like that, maybe I wouldn't be interested. I would have remained a lecturer after graduation.
Very true.
Yes. So, but haven't realized that it will be a difficult terrain for a lot of people to go in, and that was the interest. What I consider a major challenge is getting people to understand their vision and, be soaked into your vision is very difficult. You are talking of something you are not seeing, but you are saying it's going to be like this.
Yeah.
You are looking at, I will be like this in the next 10 years. It's difficult to tell people. Sometimes they look at you, you must be a mad person. That is the number one problem. Number two problem is sometimes you might not be able to communicate the exact thing you want done. The person has his own thinking, how it should be. You have your own thinking. For me, those are major challenges. I have been able to survive this because I identified 3 critical things. 1, the quality must be right to be sustainable, because quality determines how sustainable your product will be. 2, you as an individual must carry the burden of integrity. I use the word carrying the burden of integrity because sometimes if you are presenting that aspect, it's difficult for people to conceptualize. Because in the long run, the only thing that will leave you going is your integrity, the values you create. The third thing, which is very critical, is internal energy, which most of the time is not seen. And I think people must possess those 3 things.
Okay.
And that is the main thing that have helped Soulmates.
Okay. At the time you started Soulmates, did you need to get money from any financial institution?
As a matter of fact, I never thought of any financial institution. And I didn't have either. My only mind went to maybe people that I think could afford to lend me some money. Unfortunately, I didn't get that. So, and I'm happy I didn't get that. I had to resort to what I had to create something out of what I had. It gave me an opportunity to really go extra mile to begin to think of how to do it. So I started very small, very, very small. The important thing is to come out with that product, then I take the next step. If you talk about fund, people will tell you that money is number 1 for you to start something.
Yes.
I consider money number 5. There are more important things than money. You must have the idea. You must know how to go about the idea. You must have the discipline that goes with it. You must be ready to stay when it becomes very hot.
Yes.
Then the money can come.
Mm-hmm. In the manufacturing sector of Nigeria, everyone keeps thinking that money is one of the most important or the most fundamental thing for you to remain sustainable. What do you have to say about this? In your own experience, having run Soulmate industry for so many years.
I think more than anything, a normal industrialist or manufacturer will need the sympathy of the people that he meets. Not money. First of all, he wants you to appreciate what he's doing, understand what he's doing. Then you can now have reason to assist him financially. If you assist him financially without understanding what he needs the money for, because it's not like the normal buying and selling. Some of the product, like the one I do, in some product you have as much as 20-30 raw material in one product. And if I have 11 products, you'll be thinking of close to 100 different items. So you need to understand that I need to keep stock. You need to understand that some of the raw material will not be used like that. I need to process it further.
Yes.
So if you are offering me fund and without understanding this thing, we are not operating in the same level.
Yes. Okay, in wrapping up, looking at the manufacturing sector in Nigeria, and of course a lot of people shy away from it. Having said that, quite a number of people are trying to engage one form of manufacturing or the other. What message would you be sending out to encourage that in Nigeria today?
If you are coming into manufacturing and you are looking at the money you have to make, of course you need to have passion. But like I will put it this way, it's physically devastating but spiritually rewarding. And the driving force should not be the physical benefit, but what you are getting out of it. Being able to see something and it's being used. I'm sure that Steve Jobs will be a happy person, having given the whole world Apple. Not necessarily because of the money he made. And if you go through his life cycle, you will realize that he wasn't considering money, he was considering perfection in what he has to deliver. And people would not be interested in manufacturing because most people are more interested in what they can see, feel, than what they cannot see, but it's important.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ajala, for coming to Enterprise Stories to share your story. Listeners, you've been listening to the CEO of Soulmates Industries, and he has shared with us his story of how he started from his humble beginnings in his kitchen. And he has also shared with us some critical elements that you need to be sustainable in the manufacturing industry. You have to have 3 components. The first one is integrity, quality, and internal energy. Thank you very much, sir. We'll be right back with the analysis after this short break.
When you are successful in your small business, as I am, people will always come to you. They want to know what you're doing differently, who your bankers are, and what kind of deals you are getting from them. Well, I'm happy to enjoy all the benefits of the SME Zero COT account from Stanbic IBTC Bank. My profit is up. But why? Because I get zero COT, unlimited turnover, no limit on check lodgement or withdrawals, free internet and telephone banking, as well as discount on training courses for small business owners. With special benefits like that on the SME Zero COT account from Stanbic IBTC Bank. Now, there is no reason why your business won't boom just like mine.
Stanbic IBTC Bank, moving forward.
You're tuned in to Enterprise Stories, brought to you by Stanbic IBTC and Enterprise Development Center of the Pan Atlantic University.
Welcome back to Enterprise Stories. We've been listening to the story of Mr. Ndukwu Ajala, the CEO of Soulmate Industries Limited. Bumi, what's your take?
Thank you, Wally. Soulmate. It was interesting to hear Mr. Ndukwu's story, to hear the story behind a product that I've become quite familiar with over the last couple of years. I didn't actually know he started as far back as 1992. So, what are the things we can take out of this story that Mr. Ndukwu has shared with us? The very first thing I'd like to point out is the fact that he was willing to change. You know, as a business person, one of the things you have to be willing to do is change. You cannot afford to be rigid and say, okay, this is what I've always wanted to do and this is what I'm going to do. We know that change is the only constant, and as circumstances change, as the landscape changes, the business environment changes, you have to be willing to adapt to the changes, to draw out the opportunities from it, and also make the best of whatever changes come your way. He said that all he wanted to do initially was research, but when he realized that he didn't even have the visa to be able to go to NASA, where he would do his research, he looked at what he could do with the little resources that he had. That's another very important point. He still kept to his passion, which was chemistry, but he looked at what he could do with the resources that he had. So it's very important as small business owners that we should look at what is available to us. So be realistic in your thinking, but also still be willing to stretch yourself. So I have these resources. What is the very best that I can do with what?